Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm really glad to be here with you today. It's going to be a great day to walk you through your mental inbox. I'm Matthew Smith, and I am from Really Good Emails. If you haven't already checked this out, go ahead and give it a browse at reallygoodemails.com. We are the best place to start your email journey as you need to get some inspiration on your next welcome series, onboarding, win back, retention, transactional, whatever it is, we're the best place to do it. So we'd love to serve your needs there. Also, you can find us on Twitter at Really Good Email. Twitter, for some reason, has a character count that doesn't allow that little S. So we go for Really Good Email. Also, you can find me. I'm Whale on Twitter, on Dribble, on Facebook, on all the things. I've been on the internet since, my grandmother was around. So I got an animal name and it's kind of fun and it sticks. So check me out. DM me if you have any questions after this. I'm always trying to be available. All right, cool. I am here to walk you from really shitty emails to really good emails, like COVID crappy to unicorn good. That's sort of my mission in life. I never knew that was going to be the thing that I was going to be really excited about. But, I went from being a web designer and really starting out as an artist and a fine artist, learning the visual language. And then I've landed here in this experience and it's been amazing. So it's just been an awesome journey, figuring out how to turn, emails into awesome. And I'm glad to be here. This is something I'm passionate about. The mental inbox, not just in emails, but really our emotional well-being. I've been through a lot in my life, especially over the last 4 years. In about a week, I will be 4 years sober. And that's been an interesting journey for me, learning to understand my own emotions and understand my own sensibilities, my place in the world, how to relate to others, grow in my emotional capabilities. And I've learned a lot, and now I apply that in my design work. I also run a design agency called Fathom and Draft, where we center on email design systems. Hit us up if you're interested. But in the meantime, let's talk about the mental inbox. The most important part of starting to clear that mental inbox is starting with ourselves. Empathy for ourselves opens us up to empathy for others, right? It's the same thing with the airplane when we start with the grab our own mask, we can breathe, and now we can help out the children, right? So same kind of thing. You need to be able to have your own heart right before you can cause peace, in other people, right? So let's start with that. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's begin by addressing what we are all currently feeling. Maybe some of you are feeling stressed. Maybe some of you are feeling anxious, perhaps afraid, maybe confused, maybe angry, perhaps excited, a lot going on. A lot trying to keep up with. Maybe there's a new job about to start. Maybe you're feeling ashamed. There's a lot of troubling, difficult emotions going on in the world right now, whether it's trying to keep up with the COVID things or realizing that we haven't been doing our part in the Black Lives Matter issue, right? That we haven't been listening well. And now is that time. And maybe there's a little bit of guilt there. I don't know. That's something I'm experiencing. There are only two ways to deal with emotions, right? We are either like Stewie here, completely relaxed and chill as hell, or we are completely losing our shit. No, that's false. That is not true at all. You're more complex than that, and your customers are more complex than that. So let's dig in and practice some equanimity. What is equanimity? Equanimity is mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. She accepted both the good and the bad with equanimity, right? It's like going with the flow. It's being chill. It's letting go of the outcome. It's being willing to accept things as they are, right? So let me tell you how I began to have more equanimity in my life. First, maybe you're like, yeah, that's a neat idea to have equanimity, but no, it doesn't work for me. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Please be practical. Well, I'm going to show you. Okay. I'll show you what I did. Let's clear our mental inbox with mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Raise your hand if you're out there in the crowd. I know. Oh, good job. Yes, you know what mindfulness is. And you. She's wagging her head like, no, doesn't understand. That's cool. It's about being present with people, places, and things as they are, right? Yourself as you are without evaluation. Like that's the big trick. That's the thing, is being able to observe things and see what your relationship is to them and be able to step away a little bit and not start sorting things into good and bad, but instead deal with them with some equanimity. Ooh, I'm really anxious right now about not knowing what my boss is going to say. Interesting. Is this a bad feeling? It might be uncomfortable as hell, but it might not be bad, right? What is the feeling trying to do for you? Okay, interesting. It's trying to get me to change, to do something, to try and figure something out. That doesn't mean I have to, but maybe just observe for a minute without evaluation. Even if you need to evaluate in a minute, go for it. But try a little bit of non-evaluation. It's pretty cool what can happen. So I'm going to walk you through just a little bit of mindfulness now. So the first thing that we do when we are practicing mindfulness is breathe. So let's take 3 long breaths together, okay? Good. Let's do it again. You're doing so good, I can tell. One more time. Man, that feels good. I'm really glad I'm doing that even right now. I love that. So by breathing, we're getting oxygen into our brains. We're setting our intention. We're getting still. It's helpful. The next part of what we can do, especially if we're in sort of an uncomfortable situation, but really anywhere and right now, is you can recognize what you're feeling. So maybe with your eyes closed, take a minute and notice, are you excited about the talks you're going to be here today? Are you nervous about something at work? Are you nervous about work ending because there's some difficulty at home? Are you worried about finances? Are you excited about something that's coming and you can feel it in your body? Just recognize whatever's there. See if you can name it. You can also just sort of be aware of how your body is doing. You feel a cramp in your stomach. Maybe you feel tightness in your jaw. Just recognize that. Next is to allow it. So let's say you're feeling something uncomfortable or anxiety or worry or stress or something. Instead of trying to get rid of it with eating or drinking or some other disassociation or just trying to ignore it, maybe just allow it for just now. Okay, you can be here. I'm not going to push you away. I'm not going to resist, but just allow you to be here. I'm going to invite you to tea is one way I've heard it described. That's really powerful. Like, the demons we hate, the addictions that we hate, we don't need to participate with them, but the urge, the thing that's right there, we can sit with it. We don't have to push it away. So allow it. And then the next is to investigate, and let's turn it around. See what's there. Ask the feeling, where's it coming from? What's happening? What kind of job is it trying to do for you? What is the benefit of this feeling? Maybe sometimes anxiety for me is an issue of trying to get me to move or change. Sometimes a depression is saying, hey, there's a feeling down here that you need to listen to and pay attention to. It's a flag, right? So what is that feeling trying to do? And you don't have to find it out, but it's just about asking. asking those questions, being more informed. And then next up is nurture. Whatever those feelings are, whatever those things are inside, just nurture it. If you feel strain in your chest, just put your hand on your chest and just give it a good rub. It feels so good. So that experience, that actually releases, just good experience in your body. It releases dopamine actually. So it's just really powerful when you can just kind of hug on yourself or run your hands under warm water, do something nurturing the way that you would with a child. Say a nice thing. I'm really sorry you're experiencing that. It sounds so hard. Like, think about what you would say to a good friend and then be that good friend to yourself, right? These are the ways that we can put that mask on first for ourselves. So I get this from a woman that I follow her podcast, and I just love her teaching. Her name is Iterable. So it's recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. What's cool about that is it spells rain, which is really kind of a nice aesthetic, a nice way of thinking about it. I've also come up with my own feel, accept, research, and tenderize, FART. Also a wonderful acronym. What else can we do? So another technique that I like is observation without evaluation, where we treat sensation as ephemera. So the example is this. As I'm trying to understand whatever feelings are going on in me, sometimes, especially if I'm triggered by something, if my boss, I don't have a boss other than myself these days, but when I have had a boss or a client says, hey, can we talk? Usually my brain goes, oh shit. That means, what have I done? Oh God, it just drives me crazy. Now, some of you, that doesn't affect that way. Most of you, probably it does. So next time that happens, step back for a minute and just look around the room. I see white walls. I see my screen, wooden desk, gray textured shirt, blue textured hat. Okay, I see the things around me and intensity in my chest, tight jaw, feeling of fear. I just label it. I let everything be ephemera. I move into an observer role and I observe the organism and its environment. And it's powerful. Just by labeling, your brain moves into a different category and it helps you relax. Pretty cool, right? All right, you get to be like this guy. Look around, see what's out there, observe without evaluation, and treat everything as ephemera. Now, next thing you can do, shake your body. No joke, get up right now, and I want you to be like this guy. This is awesome. Just get up and shake. So you're in your home, your spouse or significant other is in the next room or something like that, or a friend or a colleague or whatever. They're not watching you, maybe, hopefully. Get up, shake your body. See what you can experience in your body that just releases. So that's an awesome way of mindfulness, getting into the present moment. When you're shaking your body, you're not thinking about that other thing. You're just thinking about the shaking. It's awesome. It's a way of resetting. And actually, jokes aside, that's how animals do it. And they can teach us some things. We've sort of forgotten that in evolution, but it's a possibility. Next is to be grateful and go through a gratitude list and see how that affects our thinking, right? To see how we can get into the present moment of gratitude out of either the past or the future. I've been told that if you've got 1 foot in the past and 1 foot down here in the future, you are crapping all over the present. You're welcome for that mental imagery. So don't do that because, the present is a gift. So they say, okay? So let's get grateful. Like this character, look at this sweet smiling face. Oh my gosh, I love Adventure Time. Just the best. And he's even got a bear in the background and he's still grateful. Cool. So that's us, right? We can work on our own mindfulness. We can work on our own characteristics. We can get chill us. Now, how do we take that into our customers' lives? Active empathy for the customer creates bonding, loyalty, and value. This is something really profound. When we connect with our customers It creates bonding between us and our customers. It's actually releasing oxytocin, the same way that when a child begins to bond with its mother or father or a caretaker or a sibling, it releases that oxytocin in the brain, and then it maps the experience of your face or the experience of that you have with the relationship with that person to a part in the brain that says, that feels good. I like this. That's why we develop friendships. This same experience is available to us with our customers. Go get it. All right, let's think about it from a framework of a couple of quotes here, 3 quotes. People won't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. This is exactly what I just said, right? It is the brain at a neuroscience level remembering the feelings, right? Much deeper in the brain matter is like that sense of how you made them feel rather than just what you said at a, cognizant logic level, right? Another one, people ignore design that ignores people. So if I feel ignored by a design, then I'm not going to give it my time. But if I feel attended to in a design, in an email, in communication, in, e-commerce or organizational relationship, then I'm going to pay attention, right? Cool. Then the next one is, do you know your customers? Okay. So the thing here that I'm really on about is we create products, we create emails, we send things, we communicate all day long as though we don't really know people. Stop for a minute. You pretend that you're not in a conference, right? That you're not like having this event. Imagine relating that way to your mom or your dad or a significant other or a friend, and acting with them as though you didn't really know them. Can you imagine what that feels like? It doesn't feel good. It feels empty. It feels apathetic. So you don't do that, but you know this. So why do we treat our customers this way? We don't spend time actually getting to know them, and then we miss the opportunity. So get to know them. How do we do that? First is qualitative research. We can do interviews, ethnographic research, surveys, or process observations. Process observations like usability testing, watching them use the site, watching them do things in their lives. How do we get to know them in that way? You get to see how they relate to things. You get to see how they work. You get to see how they act. And not just about your product, but just in general, in life, right? That's how we develop personas, etc. Today, I want to explain how all of this leads to an empathy map. Empathy being this sort of centrifuge of how you can understand your customers and then how you can relate to them better, right? So let's get into that. This is an empathy map. We want to know what our customers say, what they think, what they do, and what they feel. And thank you, IBM, for this awesome little illustration. Let's talk about what they say. So this is things that the customer is saying that might be different from what they think. Things that they will say out loud. Saying might be things that they tweet, things that they put on Facebook, things that they put on TikTok, things that they say to their spouse or to their kids or to their friends or whoever. But it's things they say, right? Things they express. Then what are they thinking? This is like the interpersonal thoughts. They might say things to themselves. That's the stuff that you're wanting to pull out, right? See from that qualitative research, what did you find out about what they think for themselves? Then next is, I'm skipping. Then what do they do? Okay. What do they do? Like what actions do they take? What movement do they engage in their lives on the product? How do they relate to, your universe and theirs? What are their actions? And then finally, what do they feel? This is like my favorite little spot. As you can tell, I'm a feeler. I cry more than most people. I'm going to see if I can cry later in this conversation. Not really, but I like feelings. Okay. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a feeling wheel or an emotional wheel. So this is cool. You can see from this imagery that you start with core feelings, and then you move out to get more detailed and more particular or specific, you can see there's a vast array here of choices. Super cool, really interesting, highly recommend it. It relates to this, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And what's really interesting is that we, as people who are trying to communicate with customers, with people in the organization, we have an opportunity to relate to people at that second level and at the third level, love and belonging and safety needs. Now you're thinking, Matthew, you're cuckoo, whale, you're insane. I don't get it. Safety needs? Hear me out. The idea is this. Right now, your customers, if they live in this universe, are experiencing fear in their lives. They're experiencing stress. They're experiencing anxiety. They don't know where the economy is going. They don't know if another pandemic is coming out. They don't know what's going to be happening. There's a lot of unknowns. Now, it's often like that, just in life, right? But so much more now. And so how can you relate to your customers in a way that helps them feel more secure, more safe, more stable, right? Some of these kinds of things, and you get down to those safety needs, let alone if you just do some of the relational dynamic and start to show them love. And I'll show you some ideas about how to do that. So back to the empathy map. Now that we have says, thinks, does, and feel, what do we do with this, right? Like, okay, cool practice, Matthew. Now what? We look for patterns and we stay curious. So patterns, we saw, okay, as a team, we put these together, right? And so we saw, oh, I see these two are connected and these three over here are connected. And then, oh, I like the connection here. There's a pattern emerging over here. Map that out, right? This is a helpful way to do it. You do it your way, but you can see how it essentially works. Next is to discuss and validate or really invalidate. So in some ways, it's what is the pattern here? What's happening here? Why is this interesting? Why do I think that this actually isn't accurate? Are you sure that's what's happening? Get into the details a little bit and see what can come out of that. Pull it apart, stay curious, see what can happen. Next, now that you know them more, what are you going to do about it, right? How can you actually serve them better now that you have this empathy map of your customer? Well, again, I want to ask you, I think you all already know this stuff, but maybe you haven't articulated it, written it down, right? So how do you improve your own relationships? If you knew that your mom was hurting, how would you relate to her? What would you say to her? How would you connect with her? If you knew that, your girlfriend was super excited about her new job, would you ignore her? No. Why? You know that would be hurtful, right? So, pay attention to the details. If you forgot the title of her new job, can you imagine that would be hurtful, right? So you just want to pay attention to some of those kinds of details and, repeat them back to her. We're going to walk through that, but you know this. So let's dig into the details here, okay? So 1, be consistent. We know this in our relationships. Keep showing up. If you say that, you're going to be home every day at 5 p.m., then try and do that. Everybody makes mistakes, own those, and then, repeat and get back to where you said you would be. But show up consistently. So for us, that means sending emails on the same times when we say we're going to, and show and that we can be consistent. Use the same design patterns consistently. This is why my design firm focuses on email design systems, so that we can show consistency and get toward a better ability to know the customer through testing, through asking questions, seeing interactions. And because it's a consistent variable, then we can make adjustments to know our audience better. It's exciting stuff. Next, observe and listen. See the actions that your customers are taking. Listen to feedback that they offer. Figure out how they are using or not using your emails or the site or your forms or any part of the life cycle. This is what's exciting to me, is life cycle design, right? So where is it that they're engaged or not engaged? Ask them questions, get in there via surveys, reach out to just one customer, ask them a question. Hey, I noticed that you left this in your cart. Totally makes sense. I leave things in my cart all the time. Do you have, 15 minutes? I'd like to give you this product after all, and I'd really like to ask you some questions about your experience. Sure. That sounds amazing. Now you've got a really cool interview opportunity with this customer, right? Cool. Observe and listen. Next, ask questions and be responsive. So similar to a relationship, if you ask a question of a customer, then listen and show you listened. There's a lot of ways to do that. We're going to talk about mirroring in a second, but another way is just to make the change. If there's something you can change, make the change. Show them that you asked a question, like for instance, imagine in an email, would you rather this or this? And then if you choose this, start showing them more of this and less of this or none of that, right? Like that kind of thing. Show them you're responsive. You are listening, right? Then another way to show them that you're responsive is to mirror back what you hear. So in relationship, if you tell me, hey, Matthew, you were being kind of a dick and I'm frustrated with you. Cool. I'm sorry. What I hear is that I was acting rude and arrogant and it really frustrated you. And I understand that. I think I would feel similarly too. I'm really sorry that I did that. What else would you like to tell me about that? That's mirroring in this context, right? Well, what happens when you can mirror in an email context, when somebody's taking an action and then you say back to them, hey, we're going to show you more drums because we know that you're a musician and you've been enjoying browsing drums and buying drums. And so we're going to show you less guitars and fewer ukuleles. How does that sound? Does that sound right? Did we hear you correctly that that's your preference? Or a grocery. We saw that you were choosing a lot of organics. We're going to promote more organics for you. Does that sound right? Ask them, right? That shows attention. That shows mirroring. You're engaging. So don't just assume. That makes sense? Cool. All right. Also, align your words with your actions. So if you're going to say that your brand is kind and thoughtful and engaging, then act it in your language, in your design, in your responsiveness, in your speed of how often you send emails, your cadence, maybe how quickly you respond to customer service things. Again, that's consistency, but you're aligning your actions and your words so that those aren't incongruent. We all have the friend that is like, I love hanging out with you. It's so good to see you. Cool. And then they never call. And you're always the one to hold together the relationship. I don't like that. Don't be that, right? Instead, just say, hey, that friend would just say, hey, it was good to see you. I'll see you another time. I have no idea when. I'm not likely to call you. Just be honest, right? Well, for us in our relationship, we can't afford to act that way with our customers. So if we say we really want them, we really are glad they are here, then let's act like it and show up. Make sure that you've got consistency, right? Going back to that. Cool. Next is show compassion. Customers are going to make mistakes. They're going to be angry at times. They are human beings. They have emotions. They are going to be roller coaster people just like us. I like to think that most people are doing the best they can with the tools that they have, no matter what. That's been my experience. Even the people I would love to really hate, here's what I like to do. I like to think about everybody as children in adult costumes. We're not really adults. We're all barely over the age of 7, I think. And most of us just kind of react our way through life. Customers are that way. And if we have some compassion for them and the realities there, we can chill out and we can actually start to serve them better. As we get to know them, we can say, I bet you this user experience is tough for the customer. Let's acknowledge that. Let's see what we can do to make it better. Let's not assume it's their fault, their problem. Let's have some compassion for them. Cool. Last is creating clarity. So one of the things that is really exciting for me is this idea that, you know how some of you are old enough to know that FedEx used to not have tracking on their shipping, right? So in my design agency, we like to talk about this ethic of communicating in a way that you're always able to think about having tracking on your project or tracking on what's happening. So imagine the day, some of you are too young for this, but there was no tracking on shipping. So you would call, you'd say, I'd like to order that, pair of waders for fly fishing. Looks cool. I want it for my dad for his birthday, or my mom for her birthday to fly fish. Cool. When's it going to be here? 6 weeks. Okay. Dad's birthday is here in 7 weeks. We should be fine. And then 6 weeks arrives and nothing shows up. And you start getting nervous because you don't know what's happening, where it's going, what's coming next, right? Well, as soon as tracking is enabled in the flow, this is how it was for FedEx. Their net promoter score was in the toilet, and their customer support calls were through the roof, very expensive. And it was all because, where's my package? I don't know what to do. Is it coming? Is it not? Do I have to spend extra money to go, get another new thing from somewhere else because I don't want to be going, having no gift for my dad, that kind of thing. But if I knew, then I could make a better decision. I could say, well, it's going to show up, but I'm going to go get a small gift and let him know it's on its way. And tracking lets me know everything. So that's clarity. That's a long story to help you understand clarity. When we can know what's happening, when it's happening, how it's happening, you're able to make better decisions. Let your customers know more about that, and you free them up and they can chill. It's going to be awesome, right? Give them that clarity. You can win the day. Not the last thing, after all, be honest. So a lot of times we don't own our mistakes. One of the things that I've noticed is in our mistakes, in either wrong email sent or like an error message on the site or whatever, if you just own it and really treat it seriously and say, hey, we blew that. I'm really sorry. We're going to make up for it, and here's how we're going to do that. And just be really clear and to the point. Know your voice and tone, how to be honest, but don't dodge it, right? Just kind of be right there in the moment, or be honest about something that you're improving. Like, I love how Patagonia says, yeah, the thread in this jacket is 100% sourced appropriately and locally. But the zippers, we still haven't been able to do that. That honesty is so refreshing, right? So we get to know what's what. It feels like honesty in relationship. We know these things, right? I'm not telling you all anything new. I'm just sort of showing you things you already know in a new light, I think. So that's something I'm excited about. Another one is stay curious, right? So I like this idea that if you can just keep an open mind, think a little differently, think on your feet. If something negative happens or something positive happens, ask why. What's that? What's under there? I want to know more. Tell me more. Show me more. That curiosity allows us, again, to move into that observation role instead of evaluating it. When we're not curious is when we say, I know why that happened. Boo. No good. Move into curiosity and start asking these questions, especially of your customers, and you'll keep evolving, keep finding out more, and you can grow your company. Cool. So one of the most important things that I think I want you to walk away with here is, if you say you're going to be wildly hilarious and a little rude, you need to do that. Like here, Family Guy. This is incredible. Oh yeah. They're being consistent. This is what I expect from Family Guy. Let's watch that again. Dear God, that's amazing. I love watching this. So, jokes aside, here's my thing. I don't believe that email is marketing. I believe that email is relationship delivered. There's an opportunity for you to actually be in relationship with your customers and change the entire framework of how you think and feel and relate to and earn the business and loyalty and trust of your customers. Try and implement these techniques. Hit me up with how you do it. Let's record a Feedback Friday episode on really good emails. And let's get into this together. We can all learn from each other. Go practice some mindfulness. Let me know how it goes. I'm here for you. If anybody wants to talk about drinking or not drinking, I'd love to talk. If you would like to meet me in the networking lounge after this, I'm all game. I love y'all. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we will see you on the flip side. Be really good.